Ladies and gentlemen, where we're headed next, I feel it's important for us to do just a real quick crash course looking at an introduction to programming and pseudocode design. So before we start, I want to talk about commenting in code. So when you are coding, you can use 2 forward slashes to make what is called a line comment. So anything after those forward slashes is ignored by your programming language. This works in Java, it works in C, it works in JavaScript, it works in lots of other languages that are based on C or Java. So 2 forward slashes blocks out everything after those slashes on that line. It's ignored. In old programming languages, this was called a remark. So if you had a command that said print hello world, then the line comment, this is a line comment afterwards, would be ignored by your program. All right. Another way to do this is called block commenting, and that's where you use these tags. It's a forward slash with an asterisk, and then an asterisk with a forward slash, and anything you put in between those 2 tags will be blocked out. It will be ignored by the programming language. So in this case, I've got a little chunk of Latin, and here at the start it has a tag on it that says everything after this is ignored until you see another one. So that would block out that whole chunk of code or comments. And I'll get to why you need to know that in just a moment. Alright, so we're going to talk about behavior-based programming. So behavior-based programming is where you think about the behavior that your robot or your computer system is going to do. So example, you're going to turn on a motor, you're going to turn on an LED, you're going to turn on a servo, you're going to perform some function. There are 3 kinds of behaviors. You have complex behaviors. This is, for example, a robot performing a complex task like opening a door. In this example here, they say like automating a fan control. So you have a temperature sensor and you have a system that turns the fan off and on. A simple behavior is think of it like a single task. So an example would be stop the fan when a sensor is activated. Okay. And a basic behavior, this is usually like a single line command for a robot. So think about that as a single command. For example, turn on the motor. Complex behaviors are broken down into simple behaviors, and simple behaviors are broken down into basic behaviors. So that's the order of things. Complex is a bunch of simple behaviors, and simple behaviors are a bunch of basic behaviors. Complex to simple, simple to basic. Let's talk about complex behaviors. So this is a description of the overall goal that your program is going to accomplish. For example, a fan runs until someone needs it to stop, a safety device warning light turns on before a fan turns on, and another light indicates that the fan has stopped. This can be described as 1 or more complex behaviors or simple behaviors. For our class, the complex behavior and the design requirements are essentially the same thing. So when we get to the template later for the complex behavior, you can pretty much just put the design requirements in as the complex behavior. Creating pseudocode, you're going to break down those behaviors into individual actions. So you have a complex behavior. You need to split it up into steps that are going to go in a specific sequence. So in this, you need to focus on describing what it's going to do and ignore syntax. You don't want to think in the programming language. You want to be able to describe it in English. So I like to say English, not code. Simply describe what the program is going to do in short phrases, like turn on a motor for 3 seconds. Follow a line until it runs into a wall. When we look at simple behaviors, we're going to take the complex behavior and break it down into simple steps. And here you need to go kind of line by line and think about the correct sequence. And you're going to describe the actions and the prompt for each action to start. So you're thinking about, when I start this step, does it have a logical beginning and ending? Okay, so let's look at an example. For instance, a warning light turns on before the fan starts for 3 seconds. The fan turns on and runs until a button is pressed. A different light turns on for 3 seconds before the program stops. So these are the simple behaviors. We can take these simple behaviors and break them down into basic behaviors. So the basic behaviors, basically, they turn into an individual line of code or a check for an input or producing an output. So in this example, what we would show, let's say I had a program set up that you start the program, it turns on an LED, it waits for 3 seconds, it turns off the LED and ends the program. So you have the command here and the line comment at the end of that line. So again, you have a command and a line comment, a command and a line comment, a command and a line comment. For what we're going to be doing, we don't need to go that in depth for the virtual robotics challenges that are coming up. So I want you to use this template for showing me your pseudocode. You're going to have your name. You're going to identify the activity, like with the name of the assignment, the name of the project, something like that. The complex tag is going to be used to identify what the design brief is or what the program requirements are, and usually that's going to be given to you, so you just copy and paste that into that right after that. And then the simple you're going to define the simple behaviors, so you're breaking that complex behavior into steps and you're putting those steps into the correct order. That's what we're after. Okay, so an example would be like this. We have a person named Del Coniger, and their project or their activity is Project PB&J, and the complex description is, because I'm hungry, I need a sandwich. Therefore, I need to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Okay, so our program is going to be about making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So let's look at the simple behaviors that would be included in that. I want these defined as line comments with 2 slashes, and each description should only take a single line. Okay, place 2 pieces of bread face up. With a clean knife, collect and spread peanut butter on the left side bread. With a clean knife, collect and spread jelly on the right side bread. Place the 2 pieces of bread together, peanut butter facing jelly. Place the sandwich on the clean plate and cut the sandwich diagonally with a clean knife. Okay, so if you were actually writing this as code, you would have those simple statements inside your code, and then after each one you would add the code lines to make each one of those things happen, and on each one of those code lines you would include a line comment that says this is what this is doing. But for this project, all I need is this. So we're going to start with your name, the activity, the complex behavior, and the simple behavior. And that is enough of this.